Suppose for a moment that one of the world's most dreaded diseases had something good to offer, that it could be a catalyst for what we all desire: dignity, purpose, and belonging. What if Alzheimer's could open doors and not just slam them shut? Here's where an open door can lead: to a better world with longer life, more joy, and no more shame with those living with the disease. And acceptance for the millions worldwide who face so much discrimination because of it. We'd have greater investment in research and treatment. And for caregivers, a much lighter load. And for all of us, how about a bold perspective? The courage to poke one toe outside our comfort zone and keep on going. To push through our fears and admit it. Hey, we really do need each other. Imagine a world where we all belong. Now, in my family, dementia took my father, it took my eldest sister, and along with cancer, it took my mother. And now, it's my turn. After finding out that I had Alzheimer's, I cried, I screamed myself hoarse, and mourned a future I could never have. I couldn't bear to tell my husband, so I didn't for nearly 2 months. But you know, thinking something horrible was inside me, that got really exhausting. And I did not plan to spend the rest of my life incubating a monster. Then, one morning, months later, I was watching a baby deer nibbling grass in our backyard. And something about that tranquil moment gave me a surprising idea. Was it possible that something good could come from this horrible diagnosis? Okay, I'll admit it. My first thought was, now I've got an excuse for everything. But I wanted more than that. And eventually I found it. A way to have Alzheimer's without it having me. Now, I've always been very close to my husband and my son, but these days I just can't tell you how loved and supported I feel. Surprisingly, I enjoy life more. And you know all that stuff you say you're going to do someday, but keep putting it off? We're doing it now. Soon we're bound for Egypt, fulfilling a lifelong dream. And while I would have much preferred a different impetus, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the person that Alzheimer's has helped me become. I'm a more compassionate friend, and I reach out to others to plan fun and adventure. I've also found what you might call a kind of radical peace. It's the difference between screeching and hopping about in an icy cold shower or calmly allowing that cold water to flow over me. In that peace, I thought about my father, the person who showed me that the human spirit is more powerful than diminishing brain cells. Now, my dad always cut a dashing figure. In fact, a childhood friend would often say to me, "Your dad reminds me of James Bond." But over time, Dad changed, as if pieces of him were disappearing. One day he confided to me, "Christy, don't tell Mom, but I'm falling asleep at red lights." Oh. "Dad," I said, "I'm so sorry. That must be terrifying for you." And a bit later, as I was leaving that day, Dad, my car's in the shop. Is it okay if I borrow yours? He didn't notice that I never brought it back. My brilliant, debonair dad had Alzheimer's. Now, I had a middle sister, Debbie, who, due to her health, always lived at home with Mom and Dad. And in her early 40s, well, that's when the heart attacks started. But here's the thing. As Debbie declined, Dad rallied. Now, don't get me wrong, there were many things he could no longer do, but somehow this 81-year-old man, already far along on his Alzheimer's journey, found a way to do what mattered most to him, and that was to take care of Debbie. Having purpose gave my dad meaning and vitality, and gave Mom a much-needed break. As for Debbie, she just basked in all of Dad's love and attention. After Debbie passed away, he would often say to me, "Christy, I've lost my job." Dad had lost his purpose, and he faded quickly. Having purpose had empowered him to rise above his prognosis, if only temporarily. Recently, in recalling that time, I realized that my purpose was right in front of me, and I'm living it now, right here on this TEDx stage. Though I do catch myself trying to make a phone call on my laptop, or discover at bedtime that I've worn my underwear sideways all day, so what? I live by the words of the ancient philosopher Epictetus. He who laughs at himself will never run out of things to laugh at. By learning to laugh at my daily mishaps, I've come to accept myself just as I am and maintain dignity, even in my most undignified moments. As we approach that doorway to a better world, we leave some things behind, like the pervasive stereotype that an Alzheimer's diagnosis means we're just one feeble step from the grave. You know, there are tons of us out there who are working, volunteering, traveling, creating art, making dinner, and of course having sex. And yes, I fit some of those categories. In fact, a study by the University of Chicago found that about half of those with dementia who are still living at home remain sexually active, and some are up to 91 years old. Go seniors. Alzheimer's is calling us to expand our own minds and our humanity. But not everyone's picking up. Now, we all know the disease. It's not like the flu. It's not contagious. But boy, it sure does keep people away. I visited a friend who'd been recently diagnosed, and what her husband told me was, you know, it's the isolation we just can't get used to. The loss of memory is devastating, but the loss of long-time relationships, that can be unbearable. Why do so many people stay away? It's what I call proximity paralysis. It's the discomfort, fear, or even dread of coming face to face with, if it happened to you, it could happen to me. So maybe at first you don't know what to do or say, but that's okay. You'll get there. Your companionship is what lets us know that we still belong and It can even slow our cognitive decline. So instead of pulling away from people with Alzheimer's, what if we leaned in instead? No matter where we are in this journey, beginning, middle, or end, we are still worthy of your time, your attention, and your respect. And you know what? We can continue to enrich your lives too. A friend recently introduced me to kintsugi. That's a Japanese art form that finds beauty in impermanence. Picture a delicate ceramic bowl cracked by time and use. To repair it, the artist fills in the cracks and seams with gold luster, almost as if tracing the bowl's journey. The idea is not to erase the flaws, but rather to embrace them. And that piece of pottery becomes more precious still. I know one day my darling son Alex will come to me and say, "Hey Mom, my car's in the shop." And I know he'll do it with love, just as I did for my dad. So what if we reframed Alzheimer's as a call to dignity, purpose, and connection? Doors everywhere swing open. Now, you don't need a fatal disease in order to become a better version of yourself. But let me tell you, Alzheimer's has changed my mind in ways I could never imagine.